Hey all. I um, I just am gonna share with you a video of my drive into work. I live in a little village along the Hudson River, about 9 miles, I think 9 miles south of downtown Albany. And this is a drive that I've taken thousands of times over the last decade, um, because primarily I work in Albany, and I think it's kind of it's an easy drive in the sense that you go straight shot about 7 miles with no traffic lights or stop signs. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There's a little traffic light that's coming up here in the distance, but that traffic light is green for about 99% of the day, except for when the Amtrak speeds by in on the west side of the road, and in which case the turns to red and nobody even follows it then because the train doesn't cross the road here. It's meant as a means of controlling traffic in some way. I think the reason that I took this video was I was sort of thinking to myself, having made this drive thousands of times, it's something that I've just taken for granted. And it reminds me of something my dad told me about back in the 70s during the oil embargo, when you had to, like, buy gas on certain days or else you couldn't get it. I think that's what it was like. But he biked to work during the embargo, and he biked from a different town into the city of Albany. But he was saying that he enjoyed it at first, but then he got so used to it that he started thinking about other things, and no longer did he feel like he was biking safely. And I can kind of relate with that in a way, because this is a road that can lull you to sleep. It's called 9J. It goes all the way from Rensselaer County all the way down to, like, Dutchess County. And this is probably one of the safest, flattest parts of the road. But a couple things happen along it, and maybe this happens on your commute. It does take on a sort of it takes on a familiarity that almost lulls you into a false sense of security. And the speed limit on this road is 55 miles per hour, basically for about maybe 7 miles or so. And I'm pretty good at keeping the car at speed limit. I might go a little bit under sometimes, maybe a few miles per hour over, but I'm pretty good with not speeding. But there are people that will get going on this road, like, I don't know, they'll get up into the 80s to pass you. And the scary thing is that they will pass you sometimes, or they'll be passing heading in the other direction, and even where there's double lines. And if you've been lulled to sleep by the road, it's actually pretty jarring. And the other thing is, for about 4 months of the year, I'd say September through January, you're going to come across deer on this road. And I have never so far, God willing, never will, but I haven't hit a deer yet, but I have seen deer, so many deer at the side of the road. I've seen cars hit deer. I know of people who have been really hurt by deer on this road. And it's like, if you're thinking about your job, or you're thinking about your finances, or whatever's coming up in life, you're thinking about your kids, it's really easy to lose track of this drive, to not notice what's out there, like whether it's the person speeding to get to work and cutting you off or heading in the other direction, or that deer crossing the road. And I think that's the way life is. We have so many concerns day to day. How we're going to make a living for ourselves, how we're going to provide for our children, how we're going to manage our health and our general well-being, that we can get on this autopilot, this this false sense of security that whatever we are doing, we are up to the task for. But there's plenty of things out there that we fail to notice because we are on autopilot. We're in that executive function mode, that state in our brain that takes over and is helpful because it allows us to focus on other things. But the problem is, there's always somebody on the road. There's always a deer that can cross. There's always that patch of black ice that you're not necessarily looking out for or noticing or even anticipating. And I think that's one of the things about the modern world in a strange, I don't know if I can call it paradoxical way, but life just seems to move so fast, and the news that comes out every day just seems to move so fast, and you can lose so much in that, in focusing on those things that you feel that you have to focus on. Like you focus on these things because they maybe at some point could be relevant to your life. But then you might miss out on the things that at the end of your life you're going to regret missing out on, if you know that you missed out on them at all. And I'm thinking about times with your kids, or times out in nature, or times just sitting in prayer or reflection of some type. There's just so much distraction, and I think it is paradoxical. The things that you think you should be focusing on can kind of lull you away from the things that are really important. And I don't know how to deal with that in life. I remember when I was a little kid, my mom brought me these little figurines, and they were from Guatemala. She bought them at a hippie bookstore or something. They're called Guatemalan worry dolls. They weren't dolls like a Barbie or a Ken or even a G.I. Joe. They were tiny, and they came in this little box that was made out of corn stalks. I don't know. It was made out of something organic, and you would take one of the little figures and you would tell them your worry, and then you'd put them in the box and then walk away, and then you would hopefully trick your mind into projecting that worry and letting go of it. I can't remember, but I almost feel like it worked a little bit. But in the last few years, I found myself making this drive so many times, not focused on the world, hardly focused on those things, maybe even on the road sometimes, that need to be paid more attention to, like I said, the black ice, or the deer, or the person passing the double lines headed towards you at 70 miles per hour. And I try to drive a little bit under the speed limit because of that. But I found a lot in the last, 5-6 years, just heading up 9J, heading on this ramp right here that goes over, that becomes a bridge that crosses the Hudson, thinking about the strangeness of things going on in the world, and how wondering how it's all going to end. Like, how am I going to help my boys to live good lives, to have some sense of, have faith, and to ask questions, and to be better men than I certainly could imagine being. And I wish that there was a way to separate some of those worries and to really be focused on the road, so to speak. I think they call that compartmentalizing. When you can take something and you can put it aside and focus on the things that are just right, most pertinent in front of you. And that's a skill that I could go to learn. But eventually, you have to go back into that compartment. And you have to open it up. And you have to deal with the things that are in it. And being a husband and a father in 2022 is probably not that much different than being a father and a husband at other times in life, but things are so seemingly chaotic, Life is moving so quickly. There's a news cycle that is just, it's not even a 24-hour news cycle. It's like a 1-hour news cycle. Things are moving so fast, and it's easy to try to give into the illusion that there's a lot that you can control about it, that you can anticipate what could happen. Like the very overpass that the car is going under here. That could be here today and gone next year, Everything could collapse in a way, and the things that you worry about on your drive could be completely irrelevant a year from now. There could be something far worse, or there could be something far better. You don't know. And it's really hard to parse out what things are worth thinking about and what things you can put in that compartment. And this is a part of the drive that I make most days into work. And sometimes I can really relate to what my dad said. I will have found myself at the end of my drive, however long it takes, 15 minutes or so, just thinking to myself, geez, I don't remember. I don't remember the drive at all. I don't remember being behind the bus. I don't remember whether or not I stopped at that stop sign, or I was held up at a stoplight. I don't remember much of it at all. In fact, most days I don't remember any of it. And I guess maybe I should be thankful that my brain was designed to do that, to just get from one place to the other. But I think that there is a lot that gets lost, and a lot of enjoyment and good things in life that you miss out on. But nevertheless, you have to try your best to stay focused and not allow for an accident, and to just do your best and be your best, and hopefully, God willing, if it's good for you, get to where you need to be. Well, thank you for listening. And if you sat through this all, you're a better man than me. God bless you.